The liberals screaming into the sky about Stephen Colbert getting canceled should listen to Jay Leno. The former Tonight Show host offering some words of wisdom for the partisan hacks alienating their audiences. Watch.
I love political humor, don't get me wrong, but it's just what happens is people wind up cozying too much to one side or the other. I don't think anybody wants to hear a lecture. Why shoot for just half an audience all the time? You know, why not try to get the whole? I'm not saying you have to throw your support or whatever, but just do what's funny.
But these Colbert supporters haven't gotten the memo. At a rally in New York City, just 20 showed up with signs. Wow. So, Dana, a guy whose name rhymes with Meg Rutfeld is the highest rated comedian, but he's funny. Yes. I find these shows have neither comedy or comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y. 176 liberal guests, one conservative, quote, Liz Cheney, which means all 177 were anti-Trump.
Yeah. So when the Colbert News first came out, I might have been like the first person to let you know. I don't know. I might have been. Because I sent him a note. I was like, oh my gosh, another one bites the dust. And what I think is another thing that Meg Rutfeld has said before, which is that if the left wants to know how to improve, they should watch The Five. Because going back since the Obama days when this show started, we would say, what's wrong with Saturday Night Live? If they would just go ahead and be like equal opportunity satire, they would do better, but they wouldn't. They would never make fun of Obama. They would hardly ever make fun of Hillary Clinton. They would always make fun of the Republicans, conservatives, and then it got worse and worse. So that was not only at Saturday Night Live, that morphed into all of the late night shows. I would even say that started during George W. Bush's time, except for Jay Leno. Jay Leno was always an exception, and I read a quote where he did an interview. He said he remembers doing a joke where a Republican wrote in and said, how dare you say that? And the very same joke a Democrat said, how dare you say that? And to him, that was a win. And I think that democracies do better when there is satire, when you can ridicule the other side or yourself, because it just, one, it makes life more fun, and it makes you a better person, and the policies improve.
Jessica, this is simple math. Colbert is hemorrhaging money. They're not funny. I mean, you can spend your night right before bed with Ben and Jerry instead of Jimmy and Colbert. Are the Democrats even watching this?
Well, whatever it was, 2.4 million, or I assume it was a mostly left-leaning audience that was watching Colbert, and Fallon and Kimmel have a bit less than he did. But once the numbers came out, it seemed like a pretty clear financial decision. Obviously, CBS desperately wanted this merger to go through. They got their way, and South Park went after them, but South Park is super profitable, and so they get to do that. They get $1.5 billion and to go after their employers. And that's what David Letterman was able to do as well. He was that good that he could sit there and he could go after his employers and he wouldn't lose his job because it was still making them money. And this model, having 200 people working on one show, is unsustainable. And I understand that there were union deals that had to be fulfilled, et cetera. But beyond the content, you can learn a lot from how Greg's show operates and how Messica for the win. No, it's just obviously, having a property like the Ed Sullivan Theater, those kinds of things, it just shouldn't cost that much to put on an hour of TV, especially when you're not even paying your guests to show up there. But I do think, Leno went off air, I think in 2014 it was. We are in a very different political time than when Leno was doing this. And I think for even the people out there decrying how polarized we are and how we all go into our own camps, they even know that you couldn't have Leno's show the way that it was at that level of success by staying away from politics to that point.
Jesse, how do you keep the audience coming back?
Well, I disagree. I mean, you can make fun of Democrats and Republicans. Trump is hilarious. You can make fun of him more than Democrats, but just do it in a good-natured way. I mean, that show, it's not that the show model wouldn't work now after 2014. There's more material now. There's so much material. And CBS knew who they were hiring when they hired Colbert. He came as a pundit from The Daily Show. This was his act. He was a left-wing hack, and they hired a left-wing hack, and then they had to fire him. Now, O'Reilly used to do Letterman, and he used to do Colbert, and he used to do Jon Stewart, and those were big events. When you get a guy like that from the other side to come in, and it's like a friendly joust. And then there was an expectation. They promote it, and it was like O'Reilly and everyone was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Right.
And they don't do that anymore. The guests just got boring, and that's easily solvable. You just have to book the other side.
I agree. So, coming up next, Sydney Sweeney. Oh, Greg, sorry. Oh, Greg. Meg Rutfeld.
Yes, that was very cute. One of the big differences, they are beholden to publicists and celebrities. So they can't ask anything that isn't safe. So if you were to say, hey, you've been following men and women's sports, you know, whoever you have on there, Brad Pitt's going to look over at his publicist and go, get me out of here. And there became a point in time where politics either became a moral virtue or an immoral stain. And if you didn't inject your opinion into everything, if you didn't say during a wedding toast, free Palestine, something was wrong with you. The only reason I think that my show exists is because of the arrogance and the ego and the assumptions that the liberals have who turned comedy sideways. You know, people find my show entertaining because I'm saying things that they're thinking that they thought they couldn't say because everybody else has made it so suffocating. I also have, like, I take issue with the biggest lie you're seeing here, which is that, you know, Colbert or Kimmel were somehow risk takers. They've had very long, rewarding, lucrative careers doing exactly what was expected from them. Just so happens the audience found an alternate universe that found out they were lying to them.
But also, you let your guests say, your guests have room to run.
Yeah.
And they can say whatever they want, and they're not going to get canceled, or they don't care.
Well, sometimes I'll get rid of them.
Who's
Invite it back. No, what you just described is how Rush Limbaugh came to be. It wasn't, you know, people said, oh, you built it, I'm going to come. Somebody thinks like I do, I can learn something. Now Greg Gutfeld. Coming up, Sydney Sweeney turns into a new target of the woke mob.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.